Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Eric the old Jarhead here, and today I gotta tell you, I've had an interesting last couple of months. About 2 months ago, I was sent a portable refrigerator to test and try out, and it ended up sitting in my pantry, turned on, and being used first as a freezer and then as a refrigerator for about 2 months. You might think, well, what the heck does that matter? Don't worry, we're gonna get there, folks. Stick with me. So, last weekend, a friend of mine and I drove up to my cabin, and we spent an awesome weekend at the cabin. It was absolutely fantastic. In fact, it was supposed to snow the whole time we were there, and the sun came out, and it was an absolutely beautiful weekend. And one of the things that I've often kind of thought about over the years, because I've been driving out to that cabin and camping and overlanding and doing all kinds of things for a while now, and it's always the pain in the butt of having ice in a cooler and it melting and the bags leaking and everything in my cooler getting wet. It is just unbelievably annoying. Not to mention that the ice takes up half the room in the cooler, right? You've been there before. You're going to go camping, you're going to your off-grid cabin, whatever. Maybe you're just going shopping, but you're a long ways from home. And you take a cooler, you throw some ice in it, you put your groceries in there, and there's a hole in the bag, and the ice melts, and it leaks everywhere, and everything gets wet, and you got to unload everything in your refrigerator, drying it off while you're at it. Not to mention that you got to get a really big cooler because half of it's taken up with the ice, or at least a third or a quarter or whatever, right? Total pain in the butt. Totally yesterday. Throw the cooler out. You don't need them anymore, because I'm going to tell you why. What if you're building an off-grid cabin and you're looking for a refrigerator? How do you have a small cabin where you don't really need a great big refrigerator? You're trying to use limited power, because anybody who's trying to do off-grid knows power is premium. So what do? Well, you could run a propane refrigerator. As long as you don't run out of propane, I guess you're okay. But what if you could get a refrigerator that can withstand your wife standing on it? Could withstand you throwing tools on top of it because you're working on something. And yes, folks, during the 2 months that this refrigerator sat in my pantry, first as a freezer, then as a refrigerator, it was kind of in the way. And my wife actually was using it as a step stool. Now, at first I was like, oh, don't do that, right? Like, what are you doing? I got this refrigerator that somebody sent me to try out and play with and see if I like, and you're standing on it. And she said, it's fine. It's tough. Strong. No problem. And I was like, okay, well, I don't see any damage. It's dirty. There's quite a bit of dirt on it, because not only was she standing on it to get things from higher shelves, but we took it out to the cabin. It went into the back of a Jeep, and we needed to load it up with everything because I had all my groceries that I needed to put in it for the whole weekend at the cabin. And the first thing that becomes really evident about how cool this is you can go like this and take the lid completely off. That's cool. Put it in the back of the Jeep, plug it into the 12-volt outlet on the Jeep so that we can have power when the Jeep's running, take the lid right off and load it up. But wait, there's more. It's crazy. Like, I hate that saying, right? But I got to show you this. It's cold inside this thing right now. The insulation on this is actually really amazing. It's got 2 baskets. One which is the lower basket, one the top basket. So when we were loading it up, we just loaded the baskets. Set the basket in, put everything in this basket, set that in, drop the lid back down on top of it, and away we went. When we got up to the cabin, it was so nice, because all we had to do was grab the basket with the food in it, pull it out, go inside the cabin, and put it in the cabin, because I do have a refrigerator in the cabin. Then we put the baskets back in and left it sitting in the porch for the rest of the weekend, but I was working on stuff. I was trying to work on a couple things, and I needed to grab a toolbox, and I had nowhere to put it, and I just set it right on top of this, because it's actually made out of metal. It's not a cheap plastic thing. It's actually really well built. This is kind of a tank. They did a good job with this, and this is an ICECO 45-quart refrigerator. Now, it could be a freezer or a refrigerator. This thing absolutely will get down to 0 degrees and stay there for over a month straight. And then if you need to make it a refrigerator, you can turn it up to 36 degrees or whatever you want your refrigerator temperature to be, and then it'll stay there. and it works great. It also has a drain plug right in the bottom, which a lot of these don't have, and I thought that was really nice because if it did get a bunch of water or something in it, you could wash it out, just take the drain plug out and empty it. So that's pretty cool. And I love this lid. Not only will it open this way, but it'll open that way. There's a few other features I really like. One of the things I gotta tell you is that when you buy one of these refrigerators, they give you spares. I thought, are you out of your mind? What is this? I opened the box, and the first thing that I noticed was that the 12-volt cable for this is really long, and I've talked about this in many of my past reviews on power stations and refrigerators and all that kind of stuff. You know, they give you like a 3-foot cable and it's useless. Well, this one, folks, is really long. I think it's probably 12 feet long. It's a great cable. Thank you, ICECO, for doing that. Now, they also give you a decent length. This is about, that's over 6 feet. AC cable. That's nice to have. You get the usual manuals, and then this is a surprise. These handles are really tough. This is metal right here. You've got hard plastic and metal combined, and they actually give you a spare handle. Who does that? That's crazy. On top of that, they give you the corner bolsters, which bolt onto the 4 corners to provide extra protection. Well, they give you 4 of those, and of course the screws that you need to put the handle on. I have to be honest, that's pretty impressive. Now, this is supposed to only use about, I think it's 340 watt hours in a 24-hour period. So if we're talking off-grid situation where you want to have a small refrigerator like this, that 45 quarts is actually quite a bit. I've got a 30-quart refrigerator, and I call it the Goldilocks, 3 bears of refrigerators. I've got a 79 quart, which is really too big, and I've got a 30 quart, which is really too small, and I've got a 45 quart, which frankly is just right. It has actually quite a lot of room. It's amazing how much room it has because you're not putting any ice in it. Throw the coolers away. Get one of these because frankly, they're just better. But if you can take this, and it's got a high quality compressor. It's a ICECO compressor. It's got a good warranty. And you can take this to your cabin, unload it with the basket so you're not having to carry the weight of the whole thing with all the food in it. Take this into your cabin, plug it into a power station. So a 2,000 watt power station would run this for about 6 days. That's incredible, folks. You put your baskets back in and you're up at your cabin for a week. Put your solar panel on a power station that this is plugged into, charge the power station up, and you're gonna run for just about indefinitely, especially if you got a little generator too. This is a great refrigerator, and I have to tell you, it is my new go-to favorite. It does have a 120 volt plug-in, a 12 volt plug-in, as well as some USBs on the side as well. And you can adjust your temperatures all the way from 0 to 50 degrees. It's a pretty amazing unit. Very, very strong. It's shake resistant, so if you're 4-wheeling or something to get to your cabin, it's gonna be fine, no problem. And believe me, getting to my cabin, it's going to be bouncing around a little bit, but it does just fine. And the fact that this runs for months, literally 2 months, solid running, not a single issue with it whatsoever, including with my wife standing on it as a step stool. A couple other things I wanted to mention about this ICECO refrigerator is it has a 12 volt input on both the right side and the left side. And there's also a light inside here. And it has a battery setting that you can change so that you can set the voltage, and it is predetermined. There are 3 settings, and each one of those allows you to determine at what point this will stop running. So if it's plugged into your car and you have one of those 12 volt plugs that get power all the time, you can set this refrigerator so that it won't drain your battery so much you can't start your car up. That's a really nice feature. You can adjust the temperature from 0 to 50. This is a really amazing refrigerator. Anyway, folks, that's all I got for you today. I'll drop another video right here for you to check out. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day. The old Jarhead out.